Hey there, Jack here. I'm a human just like you, in seeking to live a life more filled with peace, joy, and love. And I'm hoping that these daily videos can be a growth tool for me and for anybody who has the chance to watch through them. So thank you so much in advance for your time, and I hope that this is as meaningful for you as I intend it to be for me. So today I wanted to talk about the causes and consequences of our actions, and how a lot of us seem to be focusing on an action step that is actually outside of our control instead of an action step that is inside of our control, which does not lead to wrong focus, or weighting our focus on the wrong things can lead to a less pleasant life experience. So coming to you today from a beautiful apartment in Casablanca, Morocco, where I've been staying for the past week or two. And I wanted to first break down our experience into kind of three phases of action. And we're kind of always in this constant cycle of going through all these different phases and focusing on different phases of this process is where I see an opportunity for growth. So we can break down our reality experience through our own causal action into these three phases. So the first phase is the cause of the thing that we've done. Why do we do the things that we do? The second phase is the action itself. So doing things in our physical reality. And then the third step, or the third phase, is the results phase. So we do things in our physical reality space, and then results come back to us. Like, I want to give an example of these three phases. So phase one is I want to give an example. Phase two is I walk up to this wall and punch the wall. And then phase three is that reality gives me some sort of result. So in this case, if I punch the wall hard enough, my hand will feel pain. I will possibly injure the wall. I'll possibly injure myself. And I will be getting feedback from the reality space in accordance to what I have done in phase two. And where I think a lot of people, a lot of us get wrapped up and get maybe wrong focus is the wrong way of looking at it. But where we focus a lot of our attention is in phase three, which is the results phase. A lot of times we do things with our mind, our intention on getting a specific result. And there's nothing bad about desiring particular things or results from reality, but the phase three is kind of outside of our control. Like, we do things, and then reality responds with some sort of feedback for us, but the feedback isn't generated solely from ourselves. The feedback is generated from all of reality responding to the things that we have done. So, I hit the wall, and all of the molecules in the wall, plus all of the laws of physics, plus, everything behind, all of reality outside of myself is kind of responding to me. It's kind of like Newton's second law, which is that every action receives an equal and opposite reaction, right? A classic example of that is that walking on the earth. What happens is when we walk on the earth, our feet are pushing backwards on the planet underneath us, and the planet underneath us is pushing us in response. It's pushing us forward because of friction. And obviously, my foot pushing in a particular direction is my phase two, but the actual forward momentum is all of the earth pushing back on me to create that forward step. So Phase 2 and Phase 1 are actually the only ones that are sort of under our control, but Phase 3 is where a lot of us end up spending our focus and investing our energy and being disappointed when we don't get the feedback that we want. And, a lot of us muck around in Phase 3 and end up living a less joyful, peaceful, and loving life because we are focused on something that is that has an incredibly huge number of variables that aren't under our direct supervision. So, want to experiment with the idea, propose the idea that a different way of focusing our energy is possible. We can focus on Phase 1, which is the intention behind what we're doing, why we're doing the things that we're doing, and if we begin to cultivate a focus on a different phase of the action cycle, of the action process, we can actually live this more joyful, peaceful, loving life because we are focusing on variables that are more under our direct, under our direct control. May be the wrong word, but we have at least have a greater agency in terms of the reasons why we do things, the way that we look at the things that we interact with, that we choose to set out to do. Like, I have no idea what the results of making this video will be, but I intend that it will be a growth tool. My why, focusing on Phase 1, my why is that this video and videos to come will be a growth tool for me and for anybody who watches them. So by focusing on Phase 1 and then taking action in Phase 2 based on Phase 1 instead of on Phase 3, we can begin to do things and move through this cycle in like a backwards to forwards, in a forward direction, instead of focusing on the end point, and then trying to go from the end from Phase 3 to Phase 2, from Phase 3 to Phase 2, and almost like Phase 1 being kind of happening kind of on its own, even though that's the one that happens in here inside of our own mind and our own imagination and our own inside of our own body experience in many ways. So what is a way to begin focusing more on Phase 1 of the process instead of on Phase 3, in order to bring more of it under our direct agency or into our direct experience, so that we can start to cultivate a more positive flow through these three phases, so that eventually we will start to have a more positive experience of the things coming back to us, because the whole flow process is coming from a more sturdy foundation. Well, first of all, being aware of these three steps alone, I think that just being aware of something is powerful. I think that even just thinking about the fact of when we take an action, thinking about, remembering to think about, why are we doing this thing? Where is this action coming from? I think that that's a valuable step in the path. Just being more aware of this entire process, and remembering that there are parts of it that are under our direct supervision, and there are parts that are coming back to us that are coming back from us from the outside, from beyond ourselves. That's a very valuable step. I think that also remembering that Phase 1 is something that we can play with. It's happening inside of our own mind, our own imagination. Why are we doing the things that we're doing? We can have a lot of fun with this. We have this tool of our imagination that we can use to change and play with Phase 1, so that Phase 1 and Phase 2 are more joyful and positive experiences. Like, I come to my morning coffee in the morning, and I can imagine, all right, the result that I want to get from this is I want to feel more energized and caffeinated. So maybe that's a Phase 3 focus. What a Phase 1 focus might be is seeing it a different way, thinking about the coffee itself in a different way, like imagining imagining in a video game when a character comes to like a power-up potion, and they drink it, and there's like a cool animation, and there's like a green vial of liquid, and they drink it, and then they're like powered up. And suddenly the whole process, the why of the doing the thing, it may create the different the same result. Drinking the coffee, getting the caffeine, getting the chemicals in your body. And then the step 2 might be the same, rather is the drinking of the coffee, and the phase 3 might be the same, receiving the energy boost. But what we begin to notice is that phase 1 and phase 3 are actually also connected. So oftentimes I think we imagine that phase 2 and it's a very linear A to B, B to C, and they're only linked in one way. But phase 1 and phase 3 are also connected, because imagining drinking an energy power-up potion, and then drinking the potion, and then receiving the energy boost, because we had this phase 1 playful way of looking at it, the phase 3 result will feel the energy boost and we'll be like, yeah, getting that power up, as opposed to just seeking energy, getting energy, and then moving on. 3 to 2 to 3. There's a whole other layer of imagination and enjoyment that can be infused in phase 1 if we use phase 1 creatively. So becoming aware of this process, more actively engaging with phase 1 instead of just phases 2 and 3, letting phase 1 take care of itself. I think that these are both ways that we can grow into a more enjoyable experience of this whole action process. And then eventually, I think that as we focus more on enjoying the entire process, having a strong foundation in phase 1, and then following it, letting it flow naturally into phase 2, which is, if you have a strong or enjoyable reason for doing things, it's much easier to bring yourself to the actual action step of doing them in phase 2. And so I think that it can a lot of people, I think, have this experience of like an uphill battle, like trying to get to some sort of phase 3 result, and it being really like a struggle to reach it. But I think that if we have a strong phase 1 that's happening all in here in the imagination, in our mind, and in our reasoning behind doing things, I think that it can actually be more of a downhill experience, because we set ourselves up here with something fun and enjoyable and playful or imaginative, or we have these different ways of looking at the things that we're doing, and then it makes us want to do them. And when we want to do something in phase 2, it's just kind of comes out of us, it flows out of us so much easier. And then, as we know, the results are already out of our hands to a large degree. Like once we've taken the action in phase 2, the results are going to come back to us regardless, because that's how the reality cycle of action works. So I think that if we set ourselves up with a strong phase 1, it flows into a phase 2, and then phase 3, which just will happen regardless, can become almost effortless and much more enjoyable, and just a much easier downhill flow instead of an uphill battle. So this is Jack, just another human trying to grow into an experience of more peace, love, and joy. And I hope you'll come along for the journey.